What's up, everyone? This is DyanaRozay. Welcome to my channel. This is a recap and commentary for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 6. And you guys, it came in hot. I told you guys on the first episode that they were going to air Martell all the way out this season. And whatever doesn't make it out of that editing room for Melody, she's going to be sure to put it in her tweets, in her IG stories. She's going to go live, whatever it takes. But she's airing this man out, and he knows it. He even had the nerve to mention it in the recap with Carlos King. And his story had so many holes, twists, and turns in it. Man, I will talk about that in another video, though. You guys, happy Mother's Day to all of you out there who are celebrating this day. I hope that you feel celebrated. I hope that you feel loved and that you are happy. My sister actually made a surprise visit with me. So y'all know that we lost our mother a couple of years back, but it was very healing to have her here. And that is why I didn't do a video these last 2 days. But let's get into this recap. Hit the like, subscribe, and your notification bell. Also, you guys, I appreciate every single one of you for rocking with me. So let's get started. So the scene opens with Tiffany and Melody. Melody visits Tiffany at her house, and she wants to check on her, make sure that things are okay, because she didn't like the way things went down at the spa date. Melody said there was too much cussing and acting a fool for her, and that there has to be a better way for them to talk to each other. Tiffany said that the event raised her blood pressure, and she definitely tried hard not to go there with Kiki. And that's when Melody invites Tiffany to a tea party that she's having, and that a lady by the name of Miss Carol will be there to help them communicate better and show them a little etiquette. Then Tiffany said that she was actually surprised to see Melody at Tisha's event. Melody says, well, you know, I invited her to the birthday party, and our daughters used to be really close. Tiffany then asked if Martell came, and Melody said, yeah, uninvited. So Melody said that 15 minutes before the party, she actually had her daughter call Martell so that he could wish her happy birthday. During the call, Martell asked to speak to Melody, and then he says, so you're not going to invite me to the party? She responded, Martell, you are not invited to the party. Then he said, so you got all these other people coming and the father isn't invited? Melody's response was click. So she hung up. In a tweet, she said, and I made it very clear, if we were in a good place, it would be different. Disrespect equals no access. And she even showed the phone records and said that people who know his last 4 digits knows this number. Then Melody let Tiffany listen to a phone call between Martell and his daughter. Y'all remember last episode, Melody told him he can come get her after the party. So even with everything that went down, she was still honoring her word. Then you hear little Mariah's voice say, Dad, are you coming to pick me up? To which Martell responds, no, sweetheart, I'll see you on Monday. And Mariah says, yes, sir. And we all know that Martell went to Atlanta so that he could film with Sheree for RHOA. And then we remember what happened on Monday, too, when he came back to Huntsville and he went to his baby mama's house, AC, and then she aired his ass out. Y'all remember she told a story about him banging on the door and she pretended not to be home? Then he went to a back window and saw her inside and said, I want to see my son. So she put a coat on that little boy and had him stand outside with an overnight bag. And then she told him that he was at the front door and he said, never mind, I'll come get him with the rest of the kids. So again, he was disguising himself as a quote unquote good father so that he can get into some other things. Basically, he is trash across the board. And then Melody told Tiffany, I wish I would have had my children by a man and not a queen. And Tiffany's facial expression let us know that she was not ready for that level of reality. Next scene. So Kimmy and Maurice are in the kitchen. Kimmy is cooking dinner and Maurice brings up Monster. He said, I got to figure out a way to get him dialed in on this homework. And Kimmy said, well, when you do, let me know because I need him to clean up his room. Then Maurice looks puzzled and he said, so you're telling me that when you tell him to clean the room, he just doesn't do it? Kimmy said, precisely. Then Maurice says, so you're letting him defy you. And now Kimmy's looking at Maurice with a confused look on her face. Clearly, Monster is running over both of them. But Kimmy says, listen, When I ask Monster to do something and he doesn't do it for me, that's when you should step in, because obviously he knows that I'm only going to go so far as a step parent. Maurice tells her, it's not like I don't back you up. And Kimmy said, that's exactly what I'm saying. You don't. Then you guys, Maurice says, well, you're the one who made the rules. And now you're asking me to enforce the rules you made. Like he doesn't agree with her rules. In confessional, Kimmy says, it's a fine line when you are disciplining, quote, other people's children, unquote. And you could tell that Maurice has a problem with how she said it. And he said, so you don't feel like Monster's parent? She responded, yeah, I do feel like his parent. However, yours and Kiowa's rules overshadow mine. And you can best believe that was done on purpose, because if they don't keep you in the loop for the rule making, then they don't want you to be a part of the disciplining. Then Maurice goes into his nifty bag of gaslighting tricks and pulls out his ace in the hole, Kiowa. He said when you and Kai were in the thick of it, you pulled back on how you handled Monster. And now he doesn't have any respect when it comes to following your instruction. Kimmy says, Kiowa doesn't have anything to do with it. My problem is with you. That's when Maurice pulled out his phone and FaceTimes Kiowa. And he barely tells Kiowa why he called. He actually turns the phone around and says, Kimmy, tell Kiowa what you just told me. Kimmy basically says, I don't feel comfortable disciplining other people's kids, and Maurice needs to give me more help with Monster. Now, when Kimmy finishes her sentence, you can see Kiowa shake her head like, no, but you don't know if she's responding no to, no, you can't discipline my son, or if she's responding no to, this is the same old shit Maurice used to do with me. But she ends up telling Maurice she understands where Kimmy is coming from. He feels like they've double teamed him, and basically that's how the scene ends. So Stormy and Kiki go to a Reiki healer. Right up front, Kiki says, listen, I'm a child of God, and I need to make sure that this is even okay for me to do. I don't know if my minister is going to approve of this. How do I reconcile your version of spiritual practice with the Lord? The Reiki healer tells her, for those who have a problem with this, they haven't read the Bible all the way through. Then she explained how she's going to release negative energy from their body. She said, you might feel some shocks coming from your hands and feet. Kiki said, really? The healer said, yes, ma'am, really. And then she goes about her business. She runs the wand over Stormy first. She tells her that she has a pure heart, that she's misunderstood, that she's operating on a higher spiritual level. Telling Stormy that she's misunderstood actually made her cry. Then she does the same to Kiki, and she tells her that her words are prophetic and that she needs to watch how she speaks, and that things she said in the past are right now coming true. And Kiki nods her head yes. When their session is done, Kiki and Stormy have a little bit of a bonding moment where they discuss their past, where they are now emotionally, how they can move forward as friends. They also discuss Mel's upcoming tea party, and Kiki said that she doesn't want to get into it with Tiffany. But then Stormy said, if Tiffany keeps fighting with you, her baby is going to come out looking like you. And Kiki was like, well, that's going to be a blessing then, okay? So next up, we have Martell and Maurice. Martell visits Maurice at Credit One. It looks like they're doing some remodeling in there. Maurice tells Marty that he's looking good, and Martell responds, everything's coming together physically, mentally, financially, and credit-wise. Now, y'all know that production is good for playing a sound effect or some sort of music to indicate that we need to pay close attention or that there is a problem here. But they let Martell get away with saying all of that mess sound effect free. Then Maurice tries to offer him a little counsel. He says, you know, I've been through it all, man. I've been through divorce. How are things with you? And when Martell responds, that's when they start playing the somber music. Then he says in regards to the divorce, which by the way, they've been officially divorced for over 2 years and apart for 3. But he says the kids are doing fine, but things aren't that great between Melody and I. I tried to go to Mariah's party the other day and she stopped me and said, Martell, you're not invited, and threatened to call the police. Then Maurice asked the right question. He said, what led up to that? And then Martell makes an expression like, I don't know, she's crazy. And in this moment, you realize that Maurice has to treat him like a child because he's not willing to talk. So he says, were you guys fighting? To which Martell says, we were going back and forth a little bit, as if his ass wasn't acting a complete monkey in that doorway. And of course, he made sure to leave out that Melody had asked him not to come before the party even started. And he also made sure to leave out that even though he was acting an idiot for 20 to 30 minutes, saying that he needed to see his daughter on her birthday to help her celebrate, he declined the offer when his daughter called and said, Dad, are you coming by to pick me up? Maurice reminds Martell that it's important for them to get back to a place of civility. Y'all know that I like to bring up the old facts from the show, right? When after they first got divorced in season 3, Melody suggested that they go to counseling for co-parenting, and Martell dropped out. And even though people love to call Melody bitter and saying that she's not over the divorce, it was actually Martell who was showing up in spots where she was on dates, putting camera phones in people's faces, taking videos and saying he's going to do that shit every time because he's never seen her do anything like that before. Anyway, the scene wraps up with Maurice saying that he had some challenges with Monster. He said that basically Monster has a lot of advantages that he didn't have when he was a child, and he needs to figure out how to help Monster understand it. Because y'all remember, the reason why Monster is with Maurice right now is because he was supposed to take over, growing him into a man, right? So the last scene is the tea party. And y'all know that I was excited for this scene. I talked about it, I think last week on my live, where I said that Melody shared that production does not force them to film with anybody. She doesn't have to film with Martell. She doesn't have to film with Stormy. She doesn't have to film with Stormy's mama. She said that they don't force them to be in any place at any time. So we talked about all of that. And very recently, I think maybe a month and a half ago, Melody had a conversation where they discussed Stormy and Stormy's mother, Betty, knowing Martell's baby mother, AC. Melody actually said that, yeah, the information was out there and that she saw it online like everybody else, right? Well, you guys, last week someone dropped some tea in my mailbox and I was waiting to do this review to share it with y'all. But Stormy and her mother, Betty, weren't the only ones at the table with a connection to Martell's baby mama. Tisha also brought a +1 who has a connection with AC. And unlike Stormy, who was trying to deny it, this girl claims AC as her friend. So the subscriber actually reaches out to Melody. She sends her a clip from the episode, and she said, I've seen this girl on the Sides Chicks live several times, calling themselves friends. Not sure how she ended up at your tea party, but watch her. Melody responds, I don't know her personally. She does Tisha's hair. The subscriber responds to Melody, I don't know her intentions, and I'm trying to send you one of her lives. Then AC's friend / Tisha's hairdresser posted this message to her IG. She said, Black love really is beautiful. Wait, we don't spell it like that anymore. And y'all can see it on the screen. She said, Black love is my favorite Libra couple. Tisha responds, thank you, Car. And someone else in the comments definitely caught it and they tried to check her. They said, Car, how did you manage to squirm your way into doing Letitia's hair? Weren't you the same person all over your friend Ariane's lives last year, talking shit about Letitia and the rest of them? And Car responds back, tagging Ariane, and she said, go check that DM now. Now, I know a lot of people say Huntsville is small. That's probably why Melody wanted to get the hell out of there. But after finding out that poor, sad, pitiful soul was friends with Ariane, she said this. Okay, you are good. Y'all scream it to the rooftop. That's Tisha's hairstylist, and Tisha invited her as a +1. I didn't know the girl whatsoever until then. And y'all, the real cackle is that she still can't get on the show. So let's jump into this scene. Everybody is dressed for high tea. The colors are spectacular. The hats are amazing. But the company is a little iffy, okay? Not everybody is there for the right reason. The purpose of the party is to teach everyone how to communicate with each other in a respectful manner so that people can hear them, right? Well, y'all, Stormy claimed that she brought her mother there to work things out with Melody, even though her mother said to her on TV, I never liked Melody. I didn't like her when I saw her at your house. I didn't like her when I saw her on the show when I was a fan. I don't like her. And when Miss Nell, who describes herself as a straight shooter, she likes to ask questions and just get it out there, she makes the comment, I feel like there's some tension, some unresolved feelings, some energy here that did not get discussed. Well, that's when Stormy's mama chimes in to let Melody know, and she's overly excited and getting the words out of her mouth. And you can tell that this is supposed to be a scene-stealing moment. So Stormy tries to set the pace by coming after Miss Nell, talking about if you would just stay out of it and give her a chance to talk. And her words fell out of place because she is chastising Miss Fletcher for doing exactly what she's doing right now. She's interrupting and she's rude as hell. And Miss Carolyn tells her just that. But then Betty gets her words out and she tells Melody, my problem with you is that I don't like the way you do things. Then she tells her there was a tweet you made and everybody thought you were talking about Stormy and you could have corrected it. And Melody said, people tweet about me all day, every day. And it is what it is, but I can apologize if it offended you. To which Betty says, I'm going to shut you down with this. Now shut up. Now this is where things get ignorant because everyone at the table is visibly uncomfortable, like they're shifting in their seat, they're looking down, they don't know where this energy is actually coming from. And Stormy is sitting beside her mama, looking around her chair like she lost her keys or something. But Betty says, you tried to diminish what my daughter has done. And again, it's not making any sense because your daughter prides herself on doing whatever she wants to do and saying whatever she wants to say. I mean, at the beginning of the tea party, when everyone's talking about etiquette and how to engage each other, she says, well, my problem is I curse a lot. I say things that other people may not say. So she's describing herself. If that doesn't diminish her, nothing does. But this had nothing to do with a grown-ass mama taking up for a grown-ass woman. This had everything to do with these two trying to make a moment and steal the scene. Only, unfortunately for them, it didn't happen. Melody ended up tweeting again last night, and this time she let it be known that the message was for Betty and her daughter if she wanted it, but Betty had nothing to say. Mel said, I've only been around this mother a few times, and I've never had an issue, nor had she treated me like she had one. Too bad I wasn't aware of her feelings toward me before I actually met her, because I would have definitely stayed far away. In other words, I wouldn't have invited you onto this show. But there was a conversation that you can tell was taken out of context. So I don't know if Stormy was saying, you didn't talk to me on the reunion or you didn't talk to me at the reunion. But Melody, they do leave the part in where Melody says to Stormy, Stormy, I actually said to you on the reunion stage that I thought you were good for LoveAndMarriageHuntsville. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that moment in the comments, okay? So then Kiki decides to address Tiffany. She said, listen, there was some things that I just can't get with, things that you were saying at the spa day, and I just want to get it corrected right here, right now. And Kiki tried to come with it, and Melody had to stop her like, no. You look pretty, we're going to be pretty, okay? Then Tiffany tries to explain herself. She's like, listen, I went over to Tisha's house. She shared some things with me. I basically said that I don't know you, okay? I don't know you. We're not in community together. But based on what Tisha told me, I don't want to get to know you. Then she threw some curse words in it, also ignoring the entire purpose of the party. That's when Kiki jogged her memory and said, I don't appreciate you saying you don't know me. My son played baseball for your husband's team. You and I engaged each other every time I saw you there. You had conversations with my mother, with my daughter, with my in-laws. I even helped you on that little crusade to find your father. Kiki said, listen, if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. We ain't ever got to talk again, but don't lie. You know me. And by the way, I do know who my father is. Y'all, when I tell you there must be tire tracks on Tiffany's back to this very day, oh, that was bad. And then for some reason, I'm assuming because they didn't talk the entire scene, Kimmy had to jump in it, the quote unquote voice of reason, and tell her that it wasn't cool. Even Miss Carol was like, well, there was a better way you could have said it. Kiki ended up apologizing. Actually, she gaslighted her a little bit and said, oh, that's not what I meant. But that's not what I meant. I wasn't going there. But at the end of the day, she stole the scene from the scene stealer, okay? She swept them legs right from under her, and I could see it on her face. She was not happy. But y'all can let me know what y'all think in the comments, okay? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell. I'll be going live tomorrow to discuss this episode. Also, I'm dropping a video on the recap with Martell, so keep your eyes out for that, and I will see you all on the next one.